So how do you have a Mifepristone and Misoprostol abortion? Well, the first step is to take a pregnancy test, which I'm sure you've already taken. I prefer the kinds that are like this with the option of 2 lines versus 1. This measures a chemical called HCG in your urine stream, and the little line that indicates you're pregnant starts off really faint when there's just a small level of HCG detected and gets darker and darker the more HCG is there. This is useful when you're very barely pregnant, around just about 4 weeks, and you can barely see the line coming in at the beginning of a pregnancy, and is also extremely useful after the abortion is complete to be checking that the HCG is fully leaving your bloodstream. But we can talk about this later on. But once you've taken a pregnancy test and you've confirmed you're pregnant, then you can make the plan for having an abortion with pills. If you're in a very safe country and you feel comfortable getting an ultrasound first before your abortion, that's the most ideal. With an ultrasound, you can confirm that the pregnancy is healthy or not, and you can also confirm or rule out an ectopic pregnancy, and you can be sure that the pregnancy is located in your uterus. If that is the case, you're a good candidate for Mifepristone and Misoprostol. Mifepristone and Misoprostol is a set of 5 pills that, when used together, can start a medical abortion and complete a medical abortion. It's good to plan out exactly when you have the right amount of time to be able to have your medical abortion. Think about your next week ahead, or your next 2 weeks, depending on when you plan to have this abortion. And the day that you start taking the Misoprostol is the day that you will start to bleed. So think of a good time where you have maybe 2 days in a row, like a weekend or days off, or a good time that you can take off work, whatever is preferable to you. Then go back 2 days from that, and that ideally is the time that you would take your Mifepristone. So when you take your Mifepristone, you just take it down with a bit of water. And normally after taking the Mifepristone, there isn't a lot of effects on your body. You won't really be feeling a whole lot. You may feel a little cramping, a little nausea, a little something different than before, but normally it's not enough discomfort, or not enough noticeable discomfort that you should need to take a day off work or any time off at all. Most instructions for medical abortion pills say to take the Misoprostol 24 to 48 hours later. Now, it's really up to you where in between those hours that you wish to take your Misoprostol. Maybe you will decide that you want to take your Misoprostol at a certain time for convenience, if that's just really when you have the time available. There have been some studies done that have shown that taking Misoprostol around the same time as Mifepristone still produces the same results. There's other people that would advise that maybe it's better to take the Misoprostol closer to 36 to 48 hours to really allow the Mifepristone to work in your body before you take the Misoprostol. There's some people that would say that it helps to detach the fetus from the uterine wall and really just helps everything to slough off much more easily. So use your own wisdom on that about what sounds right to you, but know that there's no medical agreement on what is better for when you take the Misoprostol dose, as long as it's generally in between the 24 to 48 hour mark after you've taken the Mifepristone. So again, when you take the Misoprostol, it's important to choose what route of administration you wish to take today, whether it's in between your cheeks and gums, underneath your tongue, or deep into your vagina up next to your cervix. But choose one route and stick with that. So go ahead and take the Misoprostol at the desired route. And remember, whichever route you take, it's important to allow the Misoprostol to completely dissolve for at least 30 minutes before you swallow down the rest of the remnants. Again, if you do vomit after taking the misoprostol, it is fine as long as it was dissolved for at least 30 minutes before you vomited. After you've taken the misoprostol, between 3 and 12 hours, bleeding should start. At the beginning of the bleeding, it can usually be quite strong and the cramps can be quite intense. And in the first days, generally when the majority of people pass the fetus and pass the majority of the pregnancy. After this period, after you've passed the fetus, the majority of the abortion is complete, and you should experience just light to heavy bleeding for the next few days, depending on your body's natural process of removing tissue from your womb. Thank you so much for joining me on your abortion journey, and I wish you so much love.